So this podcast episode, Brower Brothers Talking Jazz Basketball, we are going to be going over the two games against the New Orleans Pelicans. One, the loss, two, the bounce back, the revenge. We're going to talk about the refs in the first game and how we felt that game was very poorly officiated. And then the last game against Portland, which I had the privilege of going to. Shout out to Kurt, appreciate the tickets. So let's dive into it. We'll get into some Jazz basketball here. All right, so people can probably see we've got a little bit different setup here, face to face. We're not going to be talking in the camera as much, but we'll just be more talking with each other, people listening into our conversations about the Jazz. So
definitely smell each other's breath a lot easier now.
Make sure you brush your teeth next time. So first game here, talking Pelicans. Number one, the Jazz shouldn't have lost the game. The Jazz are a way better team than the Pelicans. It never should have been in a position to where the refs decided that game, right? That being said, I hate complaining about the refs, but that game was blown.
Yeah.
I mean, that was bad.
Yeah, I think there has to be some serious talk at the end of the year of rule changes regarding going back to the replay and
inadvertent whistle.
Yeah.
How do you call inadvertent whistle, let a jump ball happen?
Yeah. Like,
it was very obvious that after the inadvertent whistle,
Jazz had the basketball.
Yeah. Jazz got the rebound. They had it. No inadvertent whistle needs to be called there. But because the way the rules are written, Jazz end up losing that game.
Yeah.
So that's that game in a nutshell. We can look at stats here. Like, Bogey had a good game. He really did. Nobody Jazz-wise actually did very good plus-minus-wise if you're really into that. Bogey had some good points. He did some good things. I was very disappointed this game in Rudy's performance. 9 points, 2 rebounds. 9 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. But Rudy can't go 9 and 10. Rudy's got to be 20 and 15.
Yeah.
So,
it's pretty disappointing how each night different Jazz guys are showing up. It's never, Donovan Mitchell as well. 16 points, 6 for 21 shooting. That's 28% from the field.
Yeah. And only got to the free throw line twice that game, Donovan Mitchell. It's way too much shooting from the outside.
Yeah.
So Jordan Clarkson that game as well, 3 for 12. It was just a bad night. It was a bad night, made even worse by the officiating. So let's move on from that one, though. We don't need to talk about that anymore. There's plenty of other good games to talk about. They play New Orleans back-to-back, which I think is really interesting that the NBA has scheduled a lot of games like this. Playing the same team back-to-back, I don't think that's ever been done in the history of the NBA except for now. They've just started doing this.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Me either.
It's ridiculous.
Especially if you're the away team.
Yeah.
If I'm the Pelicans, I'm pissed. I'm hey, I went and stole one in Utah.
Yeah.
Now I got to turn around tomorrow night and try and do it again.
Yep.
I disagree with it. But worked out in our favor because the Jazz were angry. They wanted revenge. Mike Conley has not been playing on the back-to-backs, but this game he does. Granted, even though he played, it was 23 minutes. Not a ton of time, but where it was a blowout,
Yeah. Good minutes, though. Those few minutes, 20 points. Lacking on assists and rebounds, but
he came out with the mentality that game of, hey, I'm going to go score.
Yeah, he only shot 66% from the field. No complaints.
Yeah. I was going to say only shot 66%.
Yeah.
That game too, though. Again, Rudy goes 6 points, 8 rebounds, so his numbers dropped that game, and I don't know what was up with Rudy those last 2 games. And it didn't seem to me so much that a lot of that was, I think he was still involved. He just wasn't producing.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with matchups. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert.
Well, he's going against Hernan Gomez and Valanciunas.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, he just picks and chooses, his bigs on when he wants to dominate, and other times when he just sits back and it looks like, so soft.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, points-wise that game, Clarkson redeems himself as well with 20. Conley's got 20. Interesting that, Mitchell goes for 21. Mitchell was on the triple-double watch with 21, 7, and 7.
And
much better game.
Shooting 52% from the field, 50% from three.
So
efficiency.
Let me ask you that. Why is Donovan Mitchell so up and down this year?
So I think it has to do with consistency. There's not a single guy on the Jazz that is consistent every single night. And we talk about every podcast, we're talking about a different guy who steps up or who has a bad game.
Yeah.
You know, Bogey's inconsistent. Conley's inconsistent. Conley's probably the most consistent out of all of them, but he's still inconsistent. And then Donovan Mitchell, Clarkson, Rudy Gobert. I mean, the only guy that's pretty consistent is Royce O'Neal, and that's because he'll get his 4 points, 6 points a night,
and plays
defense, and that's his consistency.
Yeah. So field goal percentage wise, do you think the Jazz aren't getting the looks or just not hitting the shots?
I think it's different each game. Some games it's a lack of just scoring and making their shots.
Yeah.
But then other games, the ball will sit on the perimeter with one guy and they're jacking up a shot like 5 seconds in the shot clock and there's no ball movement.
Or there's the dribble shot.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's when it drives me nuts. Mitchell and Clarkson are the most guilty of that.
Yeah.
When they're doing that, they make it more difficult on themselves. They don't get the shots that we need. It doesn't work out. So
yeah.
I mean, I do like to see that the Jazz bounced back on this game, but it was a matter of, I mean, the game was never in question, so I think it was a matter of pride. A matter of, hey, we got to come out here and take care of business and just get this done. But moving on, jumping over to the Portland game, like I said, I had a chance to go and watch this game.
Yeah.
What did you think Jazz-wise about
Well, I was just going to say all three of these games were pretty boring except for the end of the first one because it was the refs,
Yeah.
That made it like, I don't want to say exciting because that's not the right word.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Yeah, but there added some emotion.
It evoked
to it.
emotion. Yeah.
But these other two games, that second game against Pelicans and this game against the Trailblazers, I mean, the Trailblazers game was kind of fun because the Jazz were, kind of fun. They put up 129 points.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just being competitive, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but Damian Lillard doesn't look like he cares as much.
Yeah.
And it's not really fun basketball to watch.
Yeah. This game again, the Jazz have three guys with 20 or more. This time though, it's Clarkson, Gobert, Donovan Mitchell. So compared to the Pelicans game, Gobert finally shows up with 21 and 16.
Yeah.
Like, it's so interesting that he does it against these guys when I think that Nurkic is better than Valanciunas.
Yeah. And I think it has to go with physicality. And I think Valanciunas is soft as well. I think it had more to do with, what's his name? Hernangomez.
Oh.
But Nurkic, I think is pretty soft as well.
Yeah.
And I think Rudy does well against these kind of slower, not as athletic guys because Rudy can go in. He gets the lob because those guys don't play good defense.
That is one thing that I did notice. I think Portland, Chauncey Billups, I think he is struggling as a coach because that defensive scheme against the Jazz was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, they decided they were going to not let us shoot the three, and so Gobert has a heyday.
Yeah.
Gobert just ate him up down low, and he was getting dunk after dunk.
Well, and this is going off topic here. I have a hard time with coaches who are players, especially recently. I think going back in the past, how many successful
Luke Walton?
There's not very many successful players to coaches. Players who are really good in the NBA to coaches. I can think of some decent coaches who are
at the NBA level. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think they do okay at college.
Yeah.
Going down to the college.
Well, and that's because the other college coaching pool is not very good. You're having high school coaches, but I mean, looking at the best coaches in the league, I think Quinn Snyder's up there. I don't think he played in the NBA, right?
No, played college.
Yeah.
Not NBA.
Well, and you probably need your coach to play college to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So you got Quinn Snyder. Who do the Suns have?
Monty. No.
Yeah.
Monty Williams.
Yeah,
Why am I going to not remember this?
Yeah. Anyways, a lot of these guys were either not great in the NBA or
Monty Williams.
Yeah.
I was right.
And he played in the NBA, but nothing special.
Yeah.
I can't think of a great head coach who was a great player before he became head coach.
I think it's yet to be seen, but what do you think Steve Nash is going to do?
I don't think
Yeah,
Steve
or
Nash is that great either.
Okay.
I mean, who does he have on his team right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's got some really good guys in
Yeah,
Grant
and they're not
Harden,
good.
but yeah,
we have yet to see, in my mind, and correct me here, throw it in the comments if you can think of somebody who was a great player and became a great coach. I can't think of anybody.
NBA basketball player that then was a successful NBA coach.
Yeah, and Phil Jackson, Jerry Sloan, those guys don't count.
What about?
I don't think they were that good in the NBA.
Steve Kerr.
There you go. Well,
was
yes.
Steve Kerr really good, or did Michael Jordan make Steve Kerr really good?
Well, that's NBA wise, and I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm talking like elite
All-star.
NBA players. Yeah,
Okay.
elite NBA
All-star
players.
NBA player who then is a great coach.
Because I think Steve Kerr is a pretty good coach, but I think Steve Kerr really fits well with the Warriors because he's fit around guys that he was good with, like his playing style in the NBA as well. I think the problem with Chauncey Billups is, and this is the problem with all these coaches that were in the NBA, the game changes so much in that 15-year span. Chauncey Billups can't play the same defense he was, when he played for Detroit.
Yeah.
Offensively, it's not even close to the same. There's no Ben Wallace in the league right now.
No.
There's no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a completely different game, and these coaches are trying to, I don't know, they're trying to stick with what worked in their era, which it just isn't going to work.
Yeah, makes sense to me. So moving on to Damian Lillard. I was at the game, like we said. They announced Damian Lillard, standing ovation, rightfully so. Good job, Jazz fans. Like, that should have happened with everything he did at Weber State and everything he continues to do for the community, right?
Talks very kindly about Utah.
Yeah, he's a great, great guy. But he ends up having 11 points that game. Does have 5 assists, 6 rebounds. So he filled the stat sheet, but 11 points on 12 shots. Like, if Damian Lillard is shooting 12 shots for you in a game, you're not winning games if you're Portland.
Yeah.
And I don't think those 12 shots were because the Jazz were playing him. Like, I don't think it was tough D.
No. And here's something, too, I think that tells the story, is 0 turnovers, which, for your point guard, he should have 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Unless
if
he's
trying to create, then he's
And granted, he has 5 assists with 0 turnovers. That's pretty impressive. But 12 shots, 0 turnovers. 5 assists, 6 rebounds, great. But 12 shots from your star guy, CJ McCollum shoots 17 shots. I think Damian Lillard needs to shoot more than CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
Unless CJ McCollum is going off for 1 game or whatever.
Yeah. But it wasn't this game, right? No. He had 19 points, but anyway. Yeah. Two trains of thought that I had at watching this game. Number one, Lillard did come up gimpy after a play in the first half. He got bumped. He comes up gimpy, and I thought, I wonder if he's going to just take it easy now on the coast. Other thought is he went into the offseason telling Portland, you got to go get me some guys.
Yeah.
You've got to go get me some guys. I'm in my prime. I need to be winning right now. And they don't do it.
No. Stick with the same team pretty much.
You look at this. I think they got worse from last year.
Only positive sides of Portland right now, Damian Lillard. I think CJ McCollum's starting to hit that downward end. And then, Anthony Simons.
Anthony Simons, tore us up.
Yeah, but and I say he's the positive side, but even he isn't, star level talent. He's pretty good.
Yeah. Side note, you guys, I'm sure nobody knew this, but Dylan did play in the same Elite 100, is that what it's called? Camp. Elite 100 camp with Anthony Simons.
Cooler than that was DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, yeah, that's true. DeAndre Ayton was there too. So,
but Portland. If I'm a Portland fan right now, it's like the Jazz 5 years ago where it was like, we know we're not going to do anything great. It was like, we're going to win some games. Maybe we'll go to the playoffs. The problem with being an average team, especially in Portland, in Utah, places like that where you're not going to hit these big free agency deals, you can't be average. You're going to stay average.
Yeah.
So unless you get lucky with a great draft pick like we did with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, who were the 13th and the 27th pick, you're not going to get out of that medium.
Which is why when you see teams like Houston tanking, can you really blame them?
No, yeah, I honestly think you need to tank.
Yeah,
you tell your best players, you pick one or two good players and tell them, hey, sorry, like you can be hurt for half the season if you need to, but we got to tank, get some draft picks, build our team. And Portland, I think everything has to do with the front office. Nothing's happening. So we have yet to see from Portland any big moves that are gonna put them up to that next level. And honestly, if I'm Portland, I would consider trading Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Nurkic and try and get some draft picks and tank maybe for the next 1 or 2 years and rebuild. Because by the time they're ready to start being contender, Damian Lillard's going to be on the downhill. Yeah. And CJ McCollum's already started that.
Watching college basketball this year, there are some pretty good-looking prospects. I think this coming draft class is going to be impressive.
Yeah, I think they get better and better every year.
Yeah.
I think
they just get more
basketball
athletic.
grows and grows and grows, and I think there's more talent coming from more places, as well as because of social media and stuff. There's more outreach, more exposure. That's a word. More exposure to talent across the world. So college coaches can go grab, guys they see because of YouTube or whatever it is.
True. So those are the games, right? Discuss those. Like we said, we had a little bit of a hard time. We were like, man, what do we talk about? Because these were pretty uneventful, it seemed like. But moving forward, the thing that we wanted to talk about and what we finally came to a conclusion on as far as like why does the season feel so bland and so blah? And I think it's that, in a nutshell, the Jazz are running a marathon, not a sprint. Last year felt like we were just like, during the regular season, sprint, hold that first place, keep that first place, let's just win every game and do what we can. And then we get to the playoffs and it was like,
we're hurt,
we're injured, we're tired. Joe looked exhausted, Conley's hurt, Mitchell gets hurt in the playoffs. Like, it just didn't go well for us.
And a lot of those injuries are from, I think, fatigue.
Yeah, overuse.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to watch the players' minutes right now and see what's happening minute-wise. That being said, though, as a fan, I want to see the sprint.
Yeah.
And I want to see the sprint through the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
what's going to be frustrating, and time will tell, is it going to pay out?
Is it going to pay off?
I mean, is it going to be a problem if we get the 4th or 5th seed? Is that going to lead to us losing in the first round?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Because the West is so overloaded. We got the Lakers in 6th seed, and the Lakers, I think, suck right now.
Yeah.
But who's to say in a month that they don't
pick it up?
Yeah, that they aren't, a congruent team. Chemistry builds and they're able to play well together. And the same thing, there's not a single team right now in the playoff run that is a bad team.
No.
I think the Nuggets catch up.
I think the Nuggets will catch up and Portland won't be in. So I think looking at the playoff picture right now, so you go Phoenix 1, Warriors 2. I think those two will be jockeying spots all year. We're 3. I think we might get able to get up into that 2 seed, but I also see us dropping to 4.
Well, I think we'll be close to the Warriors.
Yeah. And then 4 Mavericks, 5 Grizzlies, 6 Lakers, 7 Clippers right now. 8 is Portland, but I think Denver, who's sitting at 10 and is only 1 game behind Portland, actually only half a game behind Portland, they're going to catch up and they're going to take that 8 seed. And then I think you are going to have Portland, Minnesota, who currently are 8-9. I think you're going to have them 9-10, and they'll be in the play-in game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the West is interesting. Eastern Conference is just boring. Conference is just awful.
I think the surprise to me on the Eastern Conference is that the Bucks are sitting at 4th.
Yes,
and that the Wizards are 2.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest surprise. Well, like the Celtics are 8.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? I mean, the Celtics so bad this year.
Tatum and Brown this year, struggling.
Which is just weird to me.
Yeah.
I think that we see in the Eastern Conference, though, I think the Hornets make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Which would be great. I'm excited for that because, like, they've sucked every year. So good for you.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, other than that, like, the Cavs are in the playoff run right now. It's early. We'll see what happens. But even having some of these teams in there is just mind-blowing to me.
That being said, we are 4th of the way through the season.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting at the 4th of the way mark. Jazz right now, if you look at our winning percentage, we're .66. So 66% of the time we're winning. I would love to see that number by the end of the year up around 75%.
Yeah, it needs to be.
If we can get 75%, even 80 would be nice, but I think 80 is a stretch. But for us to finish in the 3rd seed or the 2nd, I think we need to be at 75%. Because right now, both the Suns and the Warriors, I guess they're tied for 1st technically, but Phoenix holds the tiebreaker. I mean, those guys are winning at an 85% clip.
Yeah, and Phoenix is better than... I don't think Golden State is going to stay with Phoenix the rest of the season.
Do you? Or is Steph Curry just having the MVP caliber season and Clay is now playing 5-on-5?
Okay, that's true.
He comes back, Curry wins MVP. I think they got a shot.
Well, Klay Thompson, I don't think is going to be the same. He's been gone for years now.
No, yes. But I think just the name and the fact that he can shoot, like, it's going to spread the floor even more for Golden State.
I don't know.
I'm most scared of Phoenix.
I would say Phoenix right now is so good.
Booker's insane.
Yeah.
And I hate it because I feel like Phoenix is like our little brother, right?
Yeah.
So like analogy wise, how BYU fans look at Utah State fans, that's how I as a Jazz fan look at Phoenix, right? Like drives me crazy that they're doing so good.
We've always beat them in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
And
I can't stand Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. Okay. Would you trade Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton for Gobert and Mitchell tomorrow?
Yes. Well, the Gobert 8-1, yes.
Yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat. The Booker Mitchell one.
I think Gobert might be a little bit better than Ayton right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, but Ayton just has his ceiling so much higher.
Ayton's got that sky hook, and I wish Gobert would develop something.
Yeah, Ayton just so much more
athletic.
Yeah, well, coordinated. That's the word I was looking for. Coordinated.
Yeah. You throw it to Ayton, he catches the ball.
Yeah. Donovan and right now I'd take Devin Booker. Donovan's just so inconsistent. But it's hard because we're talking about this whole marathon thing.
Yeah.
Donovan doesn't look like he's giving his whole 100%. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, I like personality-wise Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I do too.
So if I were creating my team and I had the choice between those four, I'd probably go Mitchell Ayton.
Yeah.
But that's never going to happen. Phoenix isn't going to let Ayton walk.
No.
No. Not. So, coming up, future games. So again, we film these on Thursdays, so we're not talking about Friday's game because it hasn't happened yet. We've got Boston at home. Then we go out for a quick game, Cleveland, Minnesota. Actually, never mind. Sorry. I forget our home stretch is up. We had that 10-game home stretch with only one road game. That's up. We got a road trip after Boston.
Yeah.
So we go at Cleveland Sunday, at Minnesota Wednesday, at Philly Thursday. We wrap it up Saturday at Washington. So, I mean, Cleveland, Minnesota, winnable games. Philly, even though they're 500, they're a good team.
Yeah.
If Embiid's playing, they're a good team. And then Washington's number 2 right now in the East. Like this, and we've got Philly and Washington at the end of the road trip. I think one of two things are going to happen. One, we're going to have a crappy road trip and everybody's going to come back pissed and fans are going to be pissed. Or two, this is going to be the long road trip that the team pulls together. They get their act together. They have some bonding, some team chemistry stuff while they're gone. We pull it together and we win a lot of games.
So next podcast, we'll be talking about Boston, Cleveland, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right? Prediction for the next 3 games. 2-1, 3-0.
3-0.
3-0? Okay. I'm going to be a little more pessimistic. I'm going 2-1.
I think they go 3-0 over the next 3, but I think on that 4-game road trip, we go 2-2. I think we lose to Philly and Washington.
4-game road trip, huh? Because we're at Utah tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going between now and the next podcast 2-1, and I'm actually going to take the loss against Minnesota.
So you think
I think
we'll go 1-3 on the road trip?
No. So I think we beat Boston, we beat Cleveland, lose to Minnesota, beat Philly, lose to Washington.
Okay. We'll see how it shapes up.
So far,
you win all of these bets.
I don't think I've been wrong on anything so far.
Somebody's got to get a hold of the Jazz and tell them that they got to do what I said, so that Dylan can't have his head inflated.
I know. Well, I'm looking at the Jazz to hire me.
So, but yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Love the support. We're going to be filming from this location now, so a little bit of a mix up there. We're going to try and get some extra things in the work. But yeah, appreciate your guys' support. Hit that subscribe button if you want to be updated. Jazz podcast released every Friday on YouTube.
Nice.
So, thanks.